Apple Incorporated is more than a company that sells phones and laptops. It is one of the clearest examples of how technology, design, branding, supply chains, and culture can combine into a business powerful enough to reshape entire industries. Headquartered in Cupertino, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley, Apple has grown from a small computer venture into one of the most valuable corporations in the world. Its products sit in pockets, classrooms, offices, recording studios, hospitals, and homes across the globe. But Apple's story is not a straight line of success. It includes dramatic breakthroughs, near collapse, leadership battles, reinvention, intense customer loyalty, and serious criticism. To understand Apple, you have to understand both the machines it built and the way it made people feel about technology. Apple began in 1976 as Apple Computer Company, founded by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. The original purpose was simple: sell Wozniak's Apple I computer. At the time, personal computing was still a hobbyist world. Computers were often kits, boards, or machines meant for engineers and enthusiasts rather than ordinary households. Wozniak had the technical skill to design an accessible computer, while Jobs had the instinct to package and sell it as something bigger than a circuit board. Ronald Wayne, the third co-founder, left very early, but the partnership between Jobs and Wozniak became central to Apple's identity: engineering creativity paired with commercial vision. In 1977, Jobs and Wozniak incorporated the company as Apple Computer Incorporated, setting the foundation for a business that would push personal computing into the mainstream. The Apple II became Apple's first major success and one of the earliest mass-produced personal microcomputers to find a real market. Unlike many computers of its era, it was designed to feel more complete and approachable. It had color graphics, expandability, and a form that made it less intimidating than bare electronic kits. This mattered because the personal computer was not just a new product category, it was a new idea about who computing was for. Apple helped move computers from specialized environments into schools, small businesses, and homes. The Apple II showed that a computer could be a practical tool, an educational device, and even a symbol of the future. It also gave Apple money, visibility, and confidence to pursue more ambitious products. In the early 1980s, Apple pushed toward a more visual and intuitive way of using computers. The Lisa, introduced in 1983, and the Macintosh, introduced in 1984, helped popularize graphical user interfaces controlled by a mouse. Instead of relying mainly on typed commands, users could point, click, move files, and interact with icons and windows. This approach made computers feel less like machines that demanded memorized instructions and more like tools people could explore visually. The Macintosh became especially important to Apple's image. Its launch was bold, theatrical, and strongly tied to the idea of challenging conformity. Even when early Macs faced limitations and competition, the product established a long-running Apple theme: technology should not only work, it should feel human, elegant, and personal. Behind the public image, Apple was entering a difficult period. By 1985, internal conflicts led Steve Jobs to leave the company and create Next. Steve Wozniak also stepped back from active employment. Without its two most famous founders fully involved, Apple continued to make computers, but it struggled strategically. During the 1990s, the market shifted heavily toward lower-priced Wintel computers, machines using Intel processors and Microsoft Windows. These PC clones were often cheaper, widely available, and supported by a large software ecosystem. Apple's tightly controlled hardware and software approach made its products distinctive, but also more expensive and less dominant in business markets. As Windows-based PCs expanded, Apple lost considerable market share and began to look less like the future and more like a niche survivor. By 1997, Apple was in serious trouble. The company was reporting major losses and struggling to deliver a modern operating system that could compete with rivals. Its product lineup had become confusing, and its brand energy had faded. The turning point came when Apple acquired Next, the company Jobs had built after leaving. That deal did more than bring in software technology, it brought jobs back into Apple. His return changed the company's direction almost immediately. Apple simplified its product strategy, refocused its message, and began rebuilding around design, usability, and emotional appeal. The famous Think Different campaign captured the shift. It positioned Apple not merely as a computer maker, but as a brand for creative people, rebels, artists, and anyone who wanted technology to express individuality. Apple's comeback was powered by a sequence of products that expanded its reach beyond traditional computers. The iMac showed that a desktop computer could be colorful, simple, and friendly. The iPod transformed digital music from a technical file management problem into a pocket-sized lifestyle product. The iTunes Store then gave Apple a powerful role in the music business, linking hardware, software, and content into one controlled experience. This was a critical lesson for Apple. The product was not just the device. It was the entire ecosystem around the device. The Apple Store retail chain reinforced that idea by giving customers a carefully designed physical space to discover products, receive help, and experience the brand directly. Apple was learning how to control the full journey from advertisement to purchase to daily use. The iPhone, introduced in 2007, became Apple's most important product and one of the most influential consumer devices ever made. That same year, Apple Computer Incorporated changed its name to Apple Incorporated, signaling that the company was no longer defined only by computers. The iPhone combined a phone, an internet communicator, a music player, and eventually a massive app platform into a single touch-based device. Its impact spread far beyond Apple. It changed expectations for mobile design, pushed competitors to rethink smartphones, and helped create the app economy. Later, the iPad extended Apple's mobile strategy into tablets, while products like Apple Watch and AirPods deepened Apple's role in wearable and personal technology. Apple's strength increasingly came from how these devices connected to one another. Today, Apple's product lineup is built around both hardware and software. The iPhone remains central, but the company also sells the iPad, Mac computers, Apple Watch, AirPods, and other devices for portable and home use. Each device runs within a larger software environment that includes iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and other operating systems. These systems are designed to make Apple products feel consistent and interconnected. A user can take a photo on an iPhone, edit it on a Mac, store it in iCloud, pay with Apple Pay, and listen through AirPods, all inside Apple's ecosystem. This integration creates convenience, but it also increases switching costs. Once someone owns multiple Apple devices and uses Apple services, leaving the ecosystem can feel difficult, which helps explain the company's strong customer loyalty. Apple is also a services company. Apple Music, Apple TV, iCloud, Apple Pay, and other software-based offerings provide recurring revenue beyond one-time device purchases. This matters because hardware markets can fluctuate. People may delay upgrading phones or computers, but subscriptions and digital services can create steadier income. Apple's services strategy also strengthens the ecosystem. A customer who stores files in iCloud, watches shows on Apple TV, pays through Apple Pay, and listens to Apple Music is not just buying a device, they are living inside a platform. This platform model is one reason Apple has maintained enormous financial power. Since 2011, Apple has often been the world's largest company by market capitalization, showing how strongly investors value its brand, ecosystem, and ability to generate profit. Apple's financial scale is extraordinary. As of 2024, it is described as the largest manufacturing company by revenue, the fourth largest PC vendor, the largest vendor of tablet computers, and the largest vendor of mobile phones. In 2018, Apple became the first publicly traded U.S. company to pass a valuation of $1 trillion. By October 2025, it was valued at just over $4 trillion. These numbers reflect more than high sales volume. They reflect margins, brand power, supply chain control, and investor confidence in Apple's ability to keep customers spending. Apple does not always sell the cheapest devices, and that is part of its strategy. It positions many of its products as premium tools that combine performance, design, privacy messaging, reliability, and status. Leadership has been central to Apple's story. Steve Jobs returned the company to profitability and became closely associated with its greatest product launches, but he resigned as CEO in 2011 for health reasons and died later that year. Tim Cook succeeded him and led Apple through a different phase: operational discipline, global scale, services growth, and massive financial expansion. Cook's Apple has often been less theatrical than Jobs' Apple, but it has been extremely effective commercially. According to the source timeline, John Ternus is set to succeed Cook in September 2026, marking another major leadership transition. Each era raises the same question: can Apple preserve its culture of product focus and brand control while operating at a scale that few companies in history have ever reached? Apple's success has not shielded it from criticism. The company has faced scrutiny over labor conditions among contractors, its relationship with trade unions, environmental practices, and corporate ethics. Critics have also raised concerns about anti-competitive tactics, materials sourcing, and Apple's acquisitions of smaller businesses. These issues matter because Apple's polished public image depends on more than design. It depends on the hidden global systems that produce, ship, repair, regulate, and recycle its products. A company of Apple's size influences workers, suppliers, app developers, competitors, and consumers worldwide. That is why Apple remains both admired and challenged. Its story is the story of modern technology itself: beautiful devices, powerful ecosystems, huge profits, loyal fans, and constant debate over the true cost of innovation. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.